FIA Formula 2 moves away from the Monza circuit from 2 weeks ago and heads over to the wonderful Baku City circuit. Always an exciting race in Formula 2, never ever a dull moment. Let's cross over, ready on the world feed to get going into today's session. It's time for qualifying to kick us underway here in Azerbaijan. And we're underway then for the qualifying session here from the Baku City circuit for FIA Formula 2 Round 12 in 2024. 12 of 14, 6 races to go and a crucial qualifying session of 30 minutes ahead of us. Alongside me in the commentary box is Richie and Jack as well. And Richie, this track is awesome for Formula 2 cars. 21 laps for the sprint, 29 for the feature. But we've commentated on some great races here across the years in all classes in esports. It's one that delivers in both real life and in the simulation world. It's fantastic.
It certainly is. I mean, it's a track that showcases the maximum skill of a driver, a little bit like your likes of Monaco and Jeddah. You're close to the walls at all times, and you've got to make sure that you have the most confidence in the car, because you've got to push in sections which might look a little bit scary, such as turn 15, that horrible curb on the inside where, of course, we saw Leclerc crash earlier on, and, of course, the infamous castle section, which is always easy to go 1 centimetre offline and end up in the barriers. And in these Formula 2 cars, of course, they're a little bit smaller than the Formula 1 cars, but still, that's going to be Victor Martin's brakes on fire there.
That is not the best thing to happen just before going out onto the circuit. Victor Martin's brakes catching fire. Of course, they leave the support pit lane on wet tyres and drive back up the circuit, so they've caught fire. Green lights on. We're underway for the qualifying half hour as well. Jack, this morning in practice, nothing happened. We could not get a read. It was damp, it was rainy, and then we had several drivers causing a red flag. Very similar to what happened in Formula 1, but now they've got 30 minutes on ultra soft tyres to head out there and try and get a lap in. It's going to be chaos, isn't it?
Exactly. This is the kind of qualifying session that I actually enjoy a lot, which is where you don't really know what's going to happen going into it. And it's just going to be utter chaos of drivers just trying to get a lap in, doing my best. I don't really have a pick for pole position at the moment. If I had to pick, I'd probably go Hadjar, but I have no idea personally.
Let's check in with what the world feed are thinking as the drivers head out on their parade laps.
Of the team managers, very talented team managers in the F2 paddock. Goethe was in the wall earlier on. Let's hear from his team principal, Jeremy Coswell.
You can't afford to be too cautious. If you're too cautious, you're too far away from the limit. So, but the drivers know how they need to approach it. We assist them on that. There's no pressure in terms of to be quickest in free practice. Is about learning what you need to learn, and then to put it all together in qualifying.
The man in charge of things for the orange MP Motorsport cars and the team principal for when there was a wonderful performance, Felipe Drugovich, who took the title in 2022, has seen another one of his drivers make the way to Formula 1, Franco Colapinto, with Williams for the rest of the year. And so Oliver Goethe are about to start his second half an hour of F2 qualifying, Alex.
Third in the championship, MP Motorsport so far this year. Certainly teams who know how to put these cars together, who know how to run them efficiently. I saw Felipe Drugovich just a few moments ago. It was telling me how much he loves the challenge of this racetrack. Moving on to the softest compounder tyre that is available for Formula 2, this super soft, and then giving it absolutely everything around what is the second longest circuit of the year. Circuit of 2 halves. One is this, the 6-lane wide start-finish straight, and the sweepers that precede it. The other, much more like Monaco, only 7.6 meters wide and very, very tight and twisty indeed. Mechanically dominated, so as the drivers try to bring temperature into the tyre and build up for that first flying lap, you can see the Invictus then rolling that temperature in.
Let's hear from the main man at Invicta. Paul Devlin is the team owner. It's such a contrast of high speed and low speed corners around the city walls. Let's check in with him about setup.
we've looked at it, and I believe most teams will be on a low downforce configuration. There's not many mid-speed corners here. It's all stop and go with a huge straight. So qualifying the toe is going to be a big thing. We'll all be looking for that toe, but we'll all be looking not to give that toe as well. So it's timing your lap and just getting it right.
The team manager there at a outfit that has always been part of the second tier in modern times, known by various different names through the years. This year they are Invicta, and they've got 2 race winners behind the wheel. Kushmaini, who took a superb win when you consider the final results back in Budapest, and Gabriel Bortoletto, who is gunning for the title. He's 10.5 points back from Isaac Hadjar at the start of this session.
Inter?
Absolutely, and now the session getting into the swing of things with the first sector time starting to become available here as well, Richie. So already 46.6 for Crawford. Hadjar with a 52.9 in the second sector. They're starting to come through. It's all going to be about timing and positioning to get it absolutely spot on. The last thing the drivers want is a red flag on even one of their build laps now as we watch Hadjar down towards the line. They've got to keep it smooth.
They have indeed. We'll see what Hadjar can do on this opening lap, of course. You normally take a couple of laps to get into the swing of things, and we'll see what Hadjar can achieve. Of course, a long run here up to the line around the Baku City Circuit. We'll see what the first time of the session will be as he's starting his lap now. And the initial time hasn't popped up on the board for me yet, so I don't think he was actually on the lap there. I think he's now beginning his opening lap as he heads down to turn number 2 and then down towards turn number 3, Josh. But I've got to say, in this session, of course, with there being a lot of straights around this circuit, a lot of high speed, I expect we'll see the likes of Bortoletto and Dirksen there, because their engines tend to be, well, a lot quicker than the others.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it, as it comes through. So Hadjar on my screen is, 2:11. That's nowhere near the time we're going to be seeing in this one. So we can sort of delete that from obliteration. This is their first push-up. So Jack already a double build-up lap they're needing. Yeah, it's more like 41.8 first sector. That's going to be quite extending because the tyres with the Ultrasoft on this circuit we were seeing, it's going to be ripping up the grip quite quickly. So what, 2 goes in this session?
Yeah, probably 2 laps, and then I don't imagine they'd use the Ultrasofts, at least maybe not in the feature race. I'd imagine if they are going to, it's going to be a short stint and then just going off of the goodness. I love that castle section, man. Goodness me.
Yellow flag's out in somewhere on the circuit.
Oh, great.
Oh, and Hadjar nearly put it in the water. It's yellow flag sector 1, so that to me sounds like it's someone just gone straight on and not into the wall, although we don't get a driver tracker in Formula 2, so all we get is a yellow flag symbol. We don't get any more information, so you're wondering the same thing as us. Hadjar so much faster in that middle sector, but sector 1 is Andrea Kimi Antonelli with a 41 dead as his sector time as well. Trying to see who's not cut through sector 2. This is a long yellow flag. They might be waiting for the drivers to get to that section before throwing out the red flag, because Hadjar's going to complete that time, but that yellow's out permanently. Hadjar over the line. His first official time in this session is a 1:50. 7.423, but Rich, that yellow's still out. It's Hauger. Dennis Hauger's stopped somewhere on the circuit. And we've got green.
Yeah, and we've gone back green. Yeah, very surprising that they left the yellow out so long, as we do see a few more cars coming through. Fittipaldi going to the line, Hadjar as well, of course, finishing his first lap, as that'll be mining to the top of the times, followed by Bortoletto there with a 56.932, and we'll see Antonelli as well come through as Crawford goes up into 3rd place. What can Kimi Antonelli do as Maloney goes 2nd, and Antonelli goes to the top with a brilliant lap time there ahead of Gabriel Bortoletto, as we do see Gabriele Mini go up into 5th, and for sure up to the top there in his Trident.
Martins' hot brakes isn't stopping him. 1:56.241. He's gone 2nd fastest. Has already put Anthony down to 3rd as they're building up lap times. Hauger has resumed on our circuit. This is what happened. Oh, and it's a 1,000,000-point turn again. It's so hard to select from reverse to first gear with these Mecha Chrome engines.
Brilliant, aren't they? Revolutionary engine.
Any damage in the car? Any damage in the car? No. 0.
Yeah, they're ridiculous, aren't they? They are causing so many problems. And I'm quite scared that we're going to have someone go off the track and they're out of the race because they can't select reverse gear. I mean, that would be ridiculous. There's no damage to the car.
To be
We've just,
unfair.
yeah. We keep seeing it this season, don't we? The engine's just cutting out time and time again. And do you reckon we need new ones? Mecha Chrome not working?
Definitely. Oh, we need new. I think we need new engines. I don't think Mecha Chrome are reliable at all.
I would personally just get Mercedes or Ferrari or something like that, a bit more reliable.
But then again, is it fair to have? Obviously, you know, some of these Formula 2 teams will work closely with the Formula 1 teams. Would people try and, you know, throw the excuse? Oh, it's helping him. It's you know, stuff like that. You know what some teams are like. It's hard, isn't it, to find that middle ground of who you can have as a supplier, because Mecha Chrome has shown I don't think they're the competent engine to run. But what else have you got without controversy?
What about Chevrolet?
Chevrolet, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly the same idea.
Just get Chevy in.
Yeah.
Just get Chevy. I mean, you want to increase the American market? Go look in Chevy. I mean, Formula One clearly are interested in the American market. Oh wait, they didn't let Andretti in.
And I was going to say, with Prima also going over to IndyCar, taking that Chevy engine spot.
Yeah.
I mean, there's already an alliance there that could work. And Chevrolet already do build engines in both Indy Next and in IndyCar, and Indy Next is not that too different to Formula 2.
Yeah, I mean, Chevrolet certainly aren't short of money at all. I don't think that'd be an issue at all for Chevrolet. And, you know, like you said, it'd be nice to get more of the Americanized side of sport into Formula 1 and into Formula 2, wouldn't it? It'd be very interesting indeed. And also, definitely. It'd be great.
Oh, yeah, good point there. I forgot that. Formula 3 also have Mecha Chrome engines as well. Yeah, but it would be nice. I'd like that. I think we might try and talk to the F2 and F3 series boss over the winter break. Get him on
Have a word.
get him on a podcast. Get some help from fellow people in the paddock who can get us in contact. I mean, we're already trying to work on getting Jeff Dodds on for in part of our season preview for Formula E. And let's have a look what Hauger can do then. He had his lap time deleted by the stewards, I've just been told, as he runs up now into 12th position at 157.455. So Hauger, lap time deleted for track limits. Don't know where the hell he got track limits for. Here's Hadjar, he's in 11th. And moves up to 4th, 156.893. Track temperature's improved massively since this morning. Go on, Richard, go on.
Yeah, I was just going to say, looking at sector times at the moment, we've got Victor Martinez fastest in the first sector and Richard Verschoor fastest in the second. Now, Richard Verschoor, when he's having a good weekend like this, I'm not going to jinx him, I promise. When he's having a good weekend like this in quali, he's absolutely flying in the race. So maybe it's Richard Verschoor's weekend here in Baku.
Colapinto goes up the... Crawford... Juan Manuel Correa goes into 10th position as well. I'll get there eventually. Anthony goes 2nd. Mini goes 5th. For sure, back across the line, 155.655. Martin's to 2nd. 79 thousandths off the pace of Verschoor as well. So used to it, but yeah, Crawford's gone. Colapinto's gone. So it's just...
Behrman.
Yeah, Behrman's gone. So yeah, Crawford's here actually. He's up in 9th place, but it's just Juan Manuel Correa that you've got to worry now with the JCO.
I'm just looking at this timings here. I know it's only the first qualifying session for some of these Formula 3 into Formula 2 drivers, but Mini, Browning, Mansell, 5th, 8th and 10th, they're looking very strong. And let's be honest, Christian Mansell himself did well in Formula 3, but he certainly wasn't a front runner for half the season. So the fact he's 10th here shows that maybe some of these drivers prefer a Formula 2 car rather than a Formula 3 car.
Yeah, and I'm just keeping an eye on what Ollie Goethe can do also, making his appearance in F2 this weekend, down in 18th place, behind Marty at the moment as well, because Hauger moves up to 14th on a 156.930. So there's some interesting little sectors coming, isn't there? But all those F3 drivers miles better than Niels Coughlan, who, for some reason, has an F2 seat. As we see Luke Browning locking out. Oh, that was close to being doing a Leclerc.
Yeah. I mean, I've got to say, Niels Coughlan is flying there on a 2:03.1, 7.5 seconds off the pace. Absolutely superb.
He still thinks it's wet from this morning. Stand up on wet. What on earth? Why?
They're doing-
Why? Go on.
It's what
They're
happens
gonna
when
do
you
what-
have a dad that run Booking.com.
I think what they're going to do is they're going to do what, like, I think, didn't Ferrari do it once where they sent Leclerc out with wet tyres on a dry track? They're going to
They
do that
did,
with
yeah.
him.
That
It
is
was cool,
qualifying.
and honestly, I just be honest, some people shouldn't even be behind the wheel of a race car.
Yeah, I mean,
To be blunt.
he's never scored a point in an open wheel series. He's also only half a second quicker than the qualifying time you need to not be disqualified, which is 107%.
That's a good point.
The
Actually.
100%, the 107% cutoff is a 2:03.7. He's on a 2:03.1, and he's also not improving on this lap.
And I just wanted to point out that Mahiva Raghunathan has more points in open wheel racing than this guy.
What a man! I mean, he did take a podium in a Lamborghini series recently.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Are you on the
I don't know
motor-
how he did. I see racing.
Are you on motorsport stats, same as me? Let's have a look. Euro Le Mans not good, but he was in Indy next, where he had best finish of 10th, best grid of 15th,
Yeah.
and only one retirement. Yeah.
Oh, he had a podium.
work.
last year.
I mean, it's not the worst result. I mean, he could certainly be better, and I wouldn't say many of the Indy NXT drivers are on the level of Formula 2, but, you know, I suppose he's had some sort of luck somewhere, I suppose, and, yeah, I mean, yeah, was it Josh Mason, was it last season? I mean,
Yeah.
Neil's cool, makes Josh Mason
Where
look like
is he
Formula 1
now?
world champion. Josh Mason, I think he's doing some driving in America, I think. I don't think he's in open wheelers. I can't remember what he's doing. Oh, is that where
he's
he's
in
now?
Indy for the start of the year, and then he ran out of sponsorship.
To be fair,
I
Oh,
wonder why.
Hajar
yeah.
only going 9th.
Oh yeah, Fittipaldi in 10th as well. 156.986. So everyone's now starting to come into the pit lane to finish up their first runs. So it's about to go silent out here. Interesting about Niels, actually. Italian F4 Championship in 2022. No points. Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine, so Freca in 23. 0 points. The Indian X Series this year, 140 points, but 20th as well. Highest position of 10th at Indianapolis Road Course on the Saturday race. The Friday race. European Le Mans Series this year as well. 10 points. Highest of 6th as well. And in F2, of course, this is first weekend, second weekend, Italy was 19th in both races. And this is Browning flirting with the wall.
Oof. He was scraping it, wasn't he? Just about with the rear tyre.
Last thing you want to do in these cars is break it, because they'll just snap like a toe link.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Spreading into the pits.
So everyone's now coming back in. They've completed their opening runs. And in this session, let's head back over to the World Feed. And Alex Jake's Nights Bundle. They will have some interviews to play as well during this time.
In the first sector, slightly better middle. He's been picked up for an operational infringement. That'll be looked at after the session, as have ART with regards to their operational personnel. So we'll see if anything comes of that one. But the track falling somewhat more quiet, isn't it? As we do finally make our traditional break after frantic running through the early stages of this qualifying session.
So we have a bit of a lull at this stage. And a comparison there between our championship leader in 9th position and Richard Vishaw, former winner of the Macau Grand Prix at third tier level. A driver who was very quick earlier this year in Monaco, didn't break his way with a couple of things. Everyone bailing back to the pit lane now. Scrubbing off a lot of speed into this pit lane. It's a consideration to get down to that 60 kilometers per hour that they'll have to when they make their mandatory stops. In the feature race on Sunday, that's where we hand out the major points of the weekend. And it is a really tight championship battle that we have this year. A man back in the conversation for that championship battle is Zane Maloney. Let's check in with him.
There's a lot of things going around, happening during qualifying with traffic, with the toe, which is going to be a big thing here again. Getting the tires in the right window. I think that's the difficult part about F2 is qualifying, getting everything in the right window. The tires, the brakes, the car needs to be good as well. But as a driver, you can do so many things, and then once the qualifying laps comes, you just push 100%. I mean, there's no holding back, and if you end up in the wall, you end up in the wall. If not, then hopefully you're on pole.
I love the way he delivers that. Not about the title battle, about the qualifying session. A wonderful analysis it is as well from the man who's put himself back in the championship picture, but he needs a big point swing. But this is Formula 2. You can easily get that. I don't think many people would have predicted that our championship leader, Isaac Hadjar, would come away from Monza with no points, Alex.
Absolutely so. 30 points away from the championship lead, Zane Maloney, at the moment. And all to play for. He and Gabriel Bortoletto potentially in the frame, amongst others, for a Sauber seat moving into next year. Everything to drive for. The driver who found himself as a back-to-back winner in the very first race of the year. Taking a spate of podiums after that, and done a brilliant job throughout this year so far. Also doing a brilliant job, take a bow, Gabriele Mini, jumping into a Formula 2 car, Formula 3 runner-up in the current season, the season that's just finished, has done a lovely, lovely job to find himself 5th in the standings after his first qualifying run in a Formula 2 car.
He was one of the drivers who positioned it really nicely. Antonelli was first. Mini had the benefit of that slipstream. They're talking about it because it's worth so much. If you look at the gaps there, well, if Antonelli gets the favour reversed for him next time around, Antonelli, with a grippier track, will believe that he can make up that difference. Huge barn door of a rear wing on some of the cars, but not all of the cars. So if you can have anyone improve the efficiency of your aero by punching a hole and creating a slipstream for you, could be very, very useful. You've got to balance that, as you say, Alex, with the need to get the tyres working, to get your own part of the racetrack. It is such a different mixture of complexities around this circuit, and then eventually, gloriously, it comes down to who's got the lap at the limit.
Something we just saw for Pepe Marti, we barely ever see. That was a fundamental setup change in the middle of the qualifying session. You don't see push rods played with that much in the middle of a qualifying session. Maybe a bit of front wing, maybe a bit of a tyre pressure tweak, but that was a huge change to the attitude of the car. The drivers are not happy with the balance out there, and they're still at this stage in the final run of qualifying searching for balance and grip.
Well, the Dutch driver Richard Verschoor, who finds himself with one career pole position. Where was it? Street circuit, Monaco. And that is what he is aiming to do once again as we go and embark on our final laps in this frantic. I mean, it's gone really quickly because normally we have the lull that I described earlier, but we haven't had the lull today. We've had all action out on the track. The drivers have the cars, Alex, in a place where they're moving more than they would like to. No one seems to be glued to the road. So in this situation, if you're a championship contender, how do you play the next 8 minutes and 40 seconds?
You've got a choice, haven't you? Do you try to gain a toe from a driver around you? Do you try and play the toe game like we saw in...
Yellow flag. There's a yellow flag, and we can see a lot of traffic coming into the castle section. It's down at Sector 1, Richie.
M25.
Oh, go on.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
It's common, isn't it? Oh, is that Coolan or Dirksen?
It's Coolan. It's Niels Coolan.
Yeah, number 22, yeah. Well, 25, sorry, number 25, Niels Coolan. Well, at least it wasn't on a flying lap. I suppose that's a good thing. He can get a lap underway, of course, hopefully without a big lockup. Maybe we'll see a replay of what happened there to Coolan. I believe down towards turn 2 that would have been, but certainly not going well still here for Niels Coolan, as we do see a few cars now heading through into turn 16 here.
Everybody will improve like a lot during this run. We must improve as well.
Get on with it, otherwise you might not be in the car that much longer. We must improve as well.
Sometimes you can't even tell between the difference between a warm-up lap and a time lap for Niels Coolan.
Good point, to be fair.
I'm not pulling any punches today.
I mean, maybe us three should start a team and jump into the AIX car. Maybe we'd have a better chance.
Oh, maybe.
Richie, you're the driver.
Who's the driver?
Well, Richie does driving. He's got the same. Then again,
well,
I'm
remember Josh, Belgium.
Yeah, that was fantastically fun. Do you know, I just so you know, Richie, I actually really enjoyed commentating on that charity race with you as well. So,
It was good, wasn't it? That it's nice to go back to the old times.
You're doing the E series of PSG, right?
Yeah. I mean, listen, if there's any time I need to get someone in, I'll make sure to mention you to Connor one of the days.
Yeah, I'll come back and do. It
was great, wasn't it?
It was a lot of fun, and now you can actually stream the game and all that lot. And we can actually watch,
you don't have to buy the game. You ain't gonna pay £70.
Jesus Christ! And it's the same pictures that we're watching, which is always our problem.
Exactly. Because you're like, who do we watch here? Who do we watch here?
Yeah. So I'll come back. Jess is agreeing with us. Josh being Nathan pairing needed.
Exactly, Jess. Jess knows it.
Jess knows. I'll come back and do. I'll do a couple. I don't mind. I'd like to get back in and have a lot of fun because it was a lot of fun actually doing the charity race as well. I would have done 2.
It was, a little bit relaxed.
Yeah. I was supposed to do 2, but I think. IndyCar. We had to go cover that. That was a worldwide technology race.
Oh yeah, because you were meant to do Belgium and the Netherlands, wasn't you?
Yeah, back to back. So I had to step out for that one. It's quite funny actually because Jess and Omi were commentating on the race.
That was in the one.
Yeah.
That was the one Jess was racing in, wasn't it, Josh?
Yes. Yeah.
Wasn't it? Yeah.
Jess doesn't like to be reminded of that. I loved it, and I do miss PSGL. Some very good times. We'll see where it goes, but it is insane. It's perfect for the off season. Maybe I can do every 3 series in a game cycle.
Yeah,
I'll
that'd be
come
nice.
back and do that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, the one that takes place over the winter. That might be an idea. Because I was saying...
Well, I think, Josh, we've got the first laps underway now.
Yeah, finally we've got some lap times back with 5 minutes to go. So they'll get this one, a cool down, another push, cool down, then push again. So they've got 3 push laps that they wanted to do. It was really fun, the charity event. It was, Jez. Yeah, how much money did we raise in the end?
I think it was 950 in the end, something around there.
Fantastic.
I know, brilliant. We had, I think, 400 in the last hour.
Oh, brilliant. Well, that was
brilliant.
How lovely. I keep saying we need to do a charity race as well. Oh, yellow flag.
Oh!
Sector 1. Now it's a lock-up. I hate that we got no driver tracker in F2. Oh, 2 cars off!
Oh!
Well,
the same team, isn't it?
Yes, it is. That's straight down at turn 1. Is that a brake failure? Red flag's out, obviously. How on earth? It's Isaac
Hadjar and Marty.
And Marty. What on earth has happened there? They have gone straight on.
Imitating 2018.
Turn 1.
The 2021 race.
It's happened again. It's happened again. What on earth has happened there? They've gone straight on down there at turn 1. But there's no wing damage to either of them. I don't know. I can't see. They're in the wall. This is quite funny. I wish I could explain this to you, but they are... Oh, and Marty's angry. And they're getting over. Marty's saying to Hadjar, that was you. Now, have they turned in?
Into the car.
Well, hang on a minute. Hadjar hits the wall. And then Marty's just going to come in on a completely separate accident. That is the strangest
accident. Brake failure.
Yeah, had to be. DRS shuts, doesn't brake.
It can't be a mechanical failure because they've both done it. It's got to be an electronic failure in the car because they've both done it at pretty much the same time.
What happened? We lost the brakes. When we lost the brakes, I feel there was nothing.
Yeah, gone.
That's a brake bar wire failure.
And look at the speed I've hit into that wall as well. The car was not stopping. Even under lockup, it was just going straight. They've hit the wall at over 120 miles an hour there.
Brake side completely.
For teammates to hit the wall in exactly the same situation is alarming and definitely a brake failure for the pair of them. The 2 Camposes off into the wall down at turn 1. I can only assume that something on the setup of the brakes were completely wrong.
Yeah, I mean, they've got, 4 minutes to go, so we will go underway again, I presume, won't we?
Yes, yeah.
Which means, with Hadjar being in 9th, is he going to make that reverse grid? No.
Oh, this is crucial for the World Championship. So now I don't think Marty was having a go at Hadjar now when he pointed at him.
No.
I think
But
he
he's
was
probably
going...
like, what's happened?
Yeah, I was like, did you have the same thing? Probably.
The height difference there is astounding.
I mean, it's not a lock-up skill issue, and it's not a Hamilton issue.
No. That's just...
It's just rates have gone. It's got to be electronically as well for both of them to have the same issue. They've done laps
Really?
already, you know. They've done at least 5 or 6 laps around the track. So it's not like it's something that's happened, it's happened there and then. Weird.
One laptop.
But definitely,
Yeah. Go on.
it's good for Versure, isn't it, though? He's got a bit more, he's got a little bit of pressure off him. It's not like people can go twice, they've got 1 run to go, pretty much here. So, for sure, could be looking for a pole position. But then again, look how big the gaps are behind. Antonelli third, half a second.
Oof. Martin's
That's a big gap.
Up front. Look out for Fittipaldi. He'll have a reverse grid pole. Anyone want 2 wings from Campos? Perfect as well. That is the strangest accident I've ever seen in motorsport ever.
A weird one. It is, and I was just going to bring something up about the championship. So, I've got to say, Zane Maloney has been, I think, very underrated this season because he's 30 points off the championship leader, and from rounds 4 to round 8, so Imola, Monte Carlo, Barcelona and Spielberg, he scored 13 points. That was 8 races. He scored 13 points.
Yeah.
He's only 30 off the championship leader. Then in Hungary, he scored no points at all.
Yeah.
So imagine if he had a competent car for those 4 races, because there was issues with the car the whole time, wasn't there? He was nowhere near anything. And the same was with Miata as well. I think it was it Monaco when they were literally at the back for the whole weekend?
Yeah, it just cuts out time and time again. It's not reliable, there's no pace in it as well, and they can't even get the setups right. And you were right, Monaco, they were just at the back all the time. Now, they are being walked across the circuit by the marshals. They've been given permission by the race director to cross the circuit, because of course you're not allowed to do that, even under red flags. So they've been given permission by the marshals and by the race director, clerk of the course. So this is not coming from the big boss, this is coming from the clerk of the course, who has given them permission to walk back to the pit lane with the barrier.
Was it 2022 when Kevin Magnussen got a fine for doing this thing here at Turn 1?
Yes,
was it Kevin Magnussen? I'm sure it was.
And Lewis Hamilton.
2022.
Yeah, Hamilton got one as well.
Oh, wait, yeah, Lewis
yeah,
Hamilton as well, yeah.
Both of them got it. There's the marshals collecting it. Now they're back into the pit lane. They can now head back in and debrief with the Campos team. But they're going to start 17th and possibly 9th at best. Campos could be in for a very difficult weekend. For Isaac Hadjar, the championship at stake, not what he needed right here, right now. Right, let's check it with the world feed. They've got some news on what could have happened as we take the replay with Alex Brundle.
This is the moment that brought out the red flag. The 2 Campos cars with a moment that sent both to the barrier.
Must be quite the experience. Firstly, to see your teammate go off and go, oh dear, my teammate's crashed, and then to follow him in and go, right, as have I. That'll be the reasoning for that then. Isaac Hadjar, the driver who really will be wanting to work out what's gone on there, because this could be a huge weekend for the Formula 2 Championship. Isaac Hadjar, 165 points. Gabriel Bortoleto, who remains in the session, 154.5. 7th at the moment for Bortoleto would be a very good place to start both races. But if they get going again, Hadjar could easily be demoted out of the reverse grid positions.
There is the Campos team talking to their drivers way earlier than they wanted to. And now we throw it on, Alex, to the man who could stand to benefit. Gabriel Bortoletto's still got to improve, though, because if we do resume this session, and you would assume that we will, the track will be at its best, and everyone's got an opportunity to take their place in the top 10.
Bortoletto will be sitting in the car now thinking, come on, let's get going. The tyre temperature that I need to set this flying lap is fading with every moment. He'll be willing the clear up to go as quickly as it possibly can. Of course, it can only go as quickly as safety allows. But the drivers sitting in the pit lane will benefit hugely if it's a quicker clear up. They will still get a lap in. It's a question of the quality of that lap and how much messing about there is as well over trying to gain the toe for what looks to be a final qualifying shootout.
Yeah, completely scrambles the toe. Completely agree. Because then it's just going to be a bolt to the line. So any synchronized team moves suddenly have to move away. That's what Alex was describing for you earlier on.
Yeah, so there's the brake duct, and they try to put the brakes slightly over temperature, if anything, because obviously the disc, the rotor, sits inside the tyre and bleeds temperature through to it. So it's a key benefit if you are trying to get the front tyre up to temperature. The front tyre, of course, comes up to temperature slower because it's not delivering the power of the engine to the road. It's only turning the car, and it also meets the air first, so it gets cooled more quickly. So effectively, they burn them from the inside with the rotors. If you overcook it, that's the result. And I suspect, barring some sort of bizarre connected failure between the two cars, which you can't rule out, but would be a massive coincidence, I suspect that's what's happened.
Isaac Hadjar with the unpleasant experience of watching the final part of qualifying with all of us. The driver who had an excellent first part of the season before the summer break. We were not racing in Zandvoort, but when we went to Monza, he did not take any points away. Massive point swing as his closest rival for the championship scored 25.5 points, and inspections going on. They're playing it by the book down there, and with such high speeds, that's the right thing to do. We do have a window before we get to the second Formula 1 practice session of the day, but they've inspected things down at turn 1 to see that it's not a track issue, and that is why we're just delaying the resumption of a qualifying session that at the moment is headed by Richard Verschoor. It would be his second Formula 2 pole position, both of them, as if it holds, at street circuits.
Verschoor coming off a nice run of performances, isn't he? Podium in Hungary, podium in Spa, another podium in Monza. And one of Formula 2's most experienced drivers will be absolutely happy with how this session's gone so far, but his experience will tell him that it's not over yet in reality, and he may well have to go out there and defend that position. There's the work that's going on. Course official going to check out the circuit down there appeared to be saying, why has somebody left half a Pirelli tyre or half the surface of a Pirelli tyre in the braking zone for turn 1? Such was the lock-up from the two drivers. But Tech Pro being reversed, and those gaps between ever important that allow the energy to be dissipated as the car strikes those barriers.
The marshal's working really hard and the track official's working really hard to get us back underway here. The nature of the combination of high speed and the fact it's a street circuit means that they are busy from the very first running, and you've got to evenly space those Tech Pro barriers. They've got to be happy with it in race control as well. Safety absolutely paramount, and inspection is still going on. Now the rubber marks, and the inquest now into its 5th minute as they continue on. Track temperature, just the information for you, 44 degrees. Air temperature is 30 degrees. We had rain earlier on in practice, that has disappeared. Lots of intense discussions going on the Campos pit.
Yeah, and knowing the character that Isaac Hadjar is, he will want all the answers right now, won't he, with regards to that one. They are locked. They are locked with the front tyre. So there's obviously some braking performance going on. The rear wheels are still driving there, so perhaps the initial diagnosis might not be the correct one. We'll have to wait and see what the team say after the session. In any case, it's quite clearly an issue that's afflicting both cars, and I don't think can be laid at the driver's door in either case.
No, and they were discussing immediately before being allowed to cross the track and check in with their team to have that conversation. And we've told you about the season for Isaac Hadjar because he's been a contender all the way through, 4 times a race winner this year. For Pepe Marti, it's been a season that started with great promise with that double podium in Bahrain. He's followed it up with a 2nd place in the sprint race in Austria early this year, but those are the 3 podiums for a rookie campaign that has shown more speed than the position he finds himself in the championship, and he will look to go again with everything he's learnt in this first season of Formula 2.
session will be resumed in about 1.5 minutes. So teams will be eager to get out there, I would have thought. Expect a big queue at the end of the pit lane, desperate to get those laps in. And then it'll be a case of realistically one build lap only, should they choose to take it, or many will get straight on with it if they possibly can, to try to set a lap time in what should be an ever-improving and now ever-cooling track. Air temp now just dropping underneath 30 degrees, and so this will be definitely the best lap of the session if they can prepare their cars properly for it on the build lap.
So you've got to get over the line before the clock strikes 0 and the checkered flag is out. Just a spotter's guide for you. If a driver doesn't do that in time, they will have a checkered flag logo next to their initials. That will tell you if their session is done, because sometimes it can come down to a very, very tight moment across the line. We've seen that in so many different Formula 2 qualifying sessions in the past. Luke Browning on debut, currently putting it inside the top 10. All his team could have asked Isaac Hadjar, our championship leader, in 9th position. He will hope in the nicest way possible that there's something else that doesn't allow any improvement, because if we get a clean green flag run and they can get the tyres in the window, our championship leader is going to drop outside of that crucial reverse grid. The sprint race grid is set by reversing the top 10 of these qualifying results.
Hadjar has been noted for causing a red flag in qualifying, which may propose the utilisation of the rule for this year, the red flag rule, which costs drivers should they do that. So it's one worth keeping abreast of if you're continuing to follow this Formula 2 championship. There may well be, even if he is not demoted in this final phase of qualifying, which I suspect he will be with cars pouring out of the pit lane, Hadjar may lose that fastest time that he set already to that red flag rule.
Kimi Antonelli trying to get rid of a pesky tear off and make sure it doesn't go in any of the ducting of the car. As he gets rid of that, here's the man at the head of Q.
Why are we going first? We have to, otherwise you get...
Technical term there, but you can understand that this is the balance that we were talking about. He doesn't want to punch a hole in the air, and he wants the slipstream, but his team are adamant that you've got to be able to dictate how you prep the tyres, and if you're in the middle of the pack, you run the risk of having to run to someone else's tyre prep lap time and missing out on being able to set another push lap.
Yeah, let's expand that. What they actually mean is we cannot get you round in time. Our tolerances say, we get very close in the midfield, Bortoleto being shuffled for position there, but we cannot get you round in time. Our tolerances say that you are going to be out of position to get the laps we're looking for in our run plan unless we go first. So I'm really sorry, you're going to have to deliver the lap. Driver who was fastest in free practice earlier on without a toe.
Mr. Bowdy is at the lead of the group, doesn't want to go without a toe, so it could get a bit messy. Let's see what happens.
Just absolutely insane, Richie and Jack, because this is Monza all over again. Want the toe, and everyone's going all over the place.
It is going to be interesting what happens. Of course, Maloney there just going past, I believe that would be Bortoleto, one of the Invictors, as they head their way down to turn number 15. And this is where the chaos begins, as that is...
Is that
Fittipaldi at the front?
Yeah, I think...
I thought Hauger to me.
There's Hauger. Aron's there.
Aron.
Has Fittipaldi gone past? Yeah, look, there's a second car just ahead, so you need to see a wider angle of that. Not seeing the correct one for the moment. Right, there's Hauger, and there's no car directly ahead, so I think Fittipaldi has backed off ever so slightly from where he was. So, 1:35, lap times at 1:55. This is the last lap of qualifying we will have here for Formula 2. So, basically, you're in it to win it. If you bin it, well, you're going to have about 20 other drivers waiting to punch you in the face afterwards. Or 19, technically.
You certainly will. Whereas, we'll see here what Paul Aron can do. Of course, still in that championship fight, but of course dropping back quite a lot over the past couple of rounds. Would of course like to benefit here off the fact that Hadjar is done in qualifying and won't find an improvement on his 9th place time. He could easily drop down to around 14th or 15th place when this session concludes, but also eyes on the likes of Gabriele Mini, who's in 5th, and this will be his first race here in Formula 2. So looking good here as well for the young Italian, as we do see Aaron there, 3/10 down in the first sector, and that just shows how good that lap time was there from Richard Verschoor, but also it shows that the drivers, some of them, haven't got their tyres probably to where they wanted them to be. Of course, with so little running in this session, with 4 minutes they had in total, you can't take sometimes as long as you normally would as Antonelli. What a first sector there.
He's 3.5 tenths, well, nearly 4 tenths up in that first sector alone. So there is time to be found. How much faith have you got in your car and their tyres? But Jack, this is what we saw this morning. This last sector, so hard to get right, and the brakes take so much pressure. This is where it could all be lost if you make one small mistake, because you're losing speed all the way down the straight.
Yeah, exactly. Street circuits, one mistake, you're in the barriers, and I have a feeling that someone's then going to end up putting it in the barriers to end this session. Maybe pushing their limit a little bit too hard.
Checkered flag is out. Maloney's fastest in the middle sector. Aron was quick, but it's dropping down. Flag's out. First one to meet it. Villa Gomez goes 13th. Fittipaldi has stayed in 10th. He's got reverse grid pole position at the moment. Up into 4th goes Hager. Now 3rd goes Aron. That puts Luke Browning in his first F2 race on provisional pole. Maney goes to the top. Maloney across the line next. Correa goes 8th. Maloney to the top. Crawford goes 3rd. Bortoletto now moves ahead. Mini goes 4th in his first ever F2 race. What a run from him. Maeta Antonelli to the top. 2.5 tenths faster. Martins goes 2nd. Time down. And for sure fastest by 17 thousandths. May Mansell goes 10th. Dirksen goes 7th. It all happened at the line, Richard. It's Richard Verschoor on pole.
Absolutely superb there from Richard Verschoor on pole position there for the Formula 2 race on Sunday, and you can hear the cheers. Trident are happy with that one, and I believe that is his 3rd pole position in his career. But Josh, like we said before, it's not a surprise that Bortoletto and Dirksen are up in the top 10 because their engines in the straight line are ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So, going into Saturday and Sunday, expect a lot from those two as well, starting in 6th and 7th. And of course, for the sprint, they'll be 4th and 5th, I believe, if I got that correctly.
Yes, yes.
You are on pole. You are on pole. Yes, guys. Yes.
Richard Verschoor has pole position for the feature, but it'll be Christian Mansell lining up on pole position for tomorrow's sprint race. In his first ever start in Formula 2, he's going to be on number 1. That is an amazing, that's pressure.
It is. And I've got to say, I feel for Antonelli, looking for that pole, 17 thousandths of a second, as we'll hear from him now.
Mate, we lost pole by 17 thousandths, P2.
Man. Oh my god.
Good job, that's a good lap.
That's points as well, let's not forget. Kenny says, well, that was a qualifying. It certainly was. Jack, what did you make of it?
Dramatic qualifying session there. Which one got pole? I missed that part.
Richard Verschoor.
Oh, for sure, fair play to him. Where do you think he's going to be? That's my. I mean, we're at the point in the season for me personally, by the way, where I'm thinking, where are all these guys going to be next season?
Verschoor.
That's what I've been focusing on.
There's so much running around. We're sort of seeing the merge now that half the Formula 3 lot are coming up to Formula 2 because Formula 1 have nicked some of our
Every single year it happens.
Yeah. Mini, Mansell and Browning did so well, says Bell.
Oh, full banana. I told you. Full banana. Well done, mate. I'm extremely proud of you. Bravo, Richard. Grande! Woo, what a lap.
I was going to say as well, Belle is a fellow content creator in Formula 1. She does YouTube and a lot of TikTok. She's been in hospital recently as well, where she hasn't been able to do a lot of content creation, but I'd like to say she's back home now and is slowly getting herself mended to make content again for Formula 1, Formula 2, Formula 3 and IndyCar as well. So Belle, hope you're doing okay and kept in touch over the past few weeks. Coming to the grid then, which is down to where the international pit lane is, because it's on one side for Formula 1, one side for Formula 2, so that's why they're not coming back into the F1s, but amazing session there. Predictions for the race tomorrow then, Richard, what are you going to say?
Ooh, it's a hard one. I mean, you got Mansell on pole, you got Crawford in second place. I've got to say, I'm looking at Jack Crawford for this one. I don't know what's telling me, but I feel like maybe Jack Crawford will do it for the sprint race. Feature race, you can't call it, can you? At all.
It's too close to call. Jack, what about you?
Pick to win, I'd go with... I'm not sure, to be honest. I'll go with... You know what? I'll go for a brilliant race. And I'm going to say, let's go Christian Mansell on debut, just for some chaos.
That would be amazing. And Formula 2 always delivers here in Baku. Tomorrow's going to be very, very special. Richard Bashaw then takes pole with Andrea Kimi-Antonelli in second, Victor Martins is third, Zane Maloney fourth with Kushmani fifth, Gabriel Bortoletto sixth, Joshua Durskin in seventh, Gabriel Mini eighth, Jack Crawford ninth, and Christian Mansell the top 10. Luke Browning's 11th with Paul Aron in 12th, Dennis Halgas 13th, Juan Manuel Correa 14th, and Isaac Hadjar 15th, Enzo Fittipaldi 16th, Rita Miata 17th, Ollie Goethe 18th, Emil Cordial 19th, Rafael Amina Gomez in 20th, Jose Maria Martis 21st, and Niels Coolen in 22nd position. Will start the race, 6.7 seconds, so he's inside the 107% rule. Well, off goes Sky there as well. Not really predicting that to be any different. My thanks to you, Richie. My thanks to you, Jack, as well. We'll see you later on for the action as well. What a fantastic qualifying. That really was, I think, one of the best of the year. So much action and intrigue. The sprint race tomorrow morning is going to be very exciting, coming away before qualifying for Formula 1, sort of in between the gap as well. Thanks for your company. We'll see you later on in about an hour's time when we go for free practice 2. Take care. Bye-bye.